Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 8 of AI Chatter on Archetypical. This week, I'm standing in the heart of DC, right in the National Mall, obviously with the Capitol building right behind me here. We're going to talk AI and public sector. So let's chat AI. Hey Marty, hey Ken, welcome on again and excited to chat with you guys. Obviously, as I'm here in the middle of DC, I'll even do a little quick spin for everybody to see. We got the obviously the Washington Monument way in the back there, right in the center of the National Mall. Excited to do this here in DC, and I feel like it's a fitting place to talk AI and public sector.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So what I did for us this time for intros with a little bit limited technology, I don't have the president to help us with reading the intros, but I did create some intros still. So let's kick it off with Marty, and I did a little like founding fathers or like Declaration of Independence tone behind these intros. So starting off with you, Marty. In the revered tradition of our nation's founders, we introduce Marty Gaup, a sage of modern times with over 29 years under his belt as an Air Force guardian. At Archetype Consulting, he harnesses the profound tools of data science and econometrics, much like a founding father wielding the quill of progress. His pursuit? To refine the strategies that guide our enterprises towards a flourishing future. Join us in honoring this beacon of analytic wisdom as he charts the course through the uncharted waters of business with the steadiness and vision that would make even our forebears nod in approval.
Or nod asleep.
All right, Ken, yours. In the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, we introduce Kenneth Sanford, whose endeavors in the realm of data science are as formidable as those who laid the foundation of our great nation. At Archetype Consulting, he stands at the helm, navigating the intricate waters of analytics with the precision and foresight that would make our forefathers proud. A surfer by passion, an economist by training, Ken embodies the pursuit of knowledge and innovation, declaring independence from outdated methods and charting a new course towards enlightenment and progress. Let us acclaim Ken, a modern-day pioneer in the vast frontier of data, for his unwavering commitment to advancing our collective understanding and prosperity. Thought those were pretty good.
Oh, it's very good. Yes.
Well, next we can move on to the meme of the week. So we'll bring that up. And I want to get your guys' take on this because I feel personally that this is kind of somewhat the case nowadays. Of if anybody watching it has, and I forget his name. What's his name in Scooby Doo? Who is that? Do you guys remember? I don't remember his name.
It's not
But it's
Shaggy,
Scooby Doo
it's the
guy.
other guy.
Yeah, Scooby Doo pulling off the mask of the villain who's pretending to be a ghost and says, "We are an AI startup," and then he pulls off the mask, and of course he says, "API call to GPT-3." I feel like this is somewhat the case. Like, I don't know if you guys agree. What do you guys think?
Well, to GPT-4 now, but
Yes.
yes, same. Yeah, kind of. Admittedly, when OpenAI made it possible to kind of build your own GPT-ish things, it eliminated some of the lowest hanging fruit versions of this.
Mm.
But there's a lot of knowledge. There's knowledge about how you build. If you do employ a RAG architecture, there is some proprietary knowledge around how you make that happen. Marty?
Yeah, I mean, if you go into, is it called the AI marketplace or the GPT marketplace? It's basically where you can register your Chat GPT tool. You're going to find a lot of these. I mean, it's just a basic question and answer service, but you've written a front end in some HTML to make calls on, I don't know, dog breeds, because you're into dogs. And it, like Ken said, the more sophisticated ones, yeah, of course, using an API call is fine. We do it all the time in data science, different packages, but it's the stuff you do beforehand or afterwards that may be different. Like Ken said, I mean, I think if you want to be a serious player in this space, something's got to differentiate it. If you just do a basic API call. I think someone will figure that out and take your, you know, your process and recreate it no problem themselves.
There's it kind of depends on the there certainly was a period where there was some seed dollars that went to very naive applications. That's over. And so, if you've received funding of any meaningful size, then then enough due diligence went into it, and you probably are like a semi legitimate application.
Yeah.
But the hardest thing, and this is something I struggle with there are so many in so many different applications. How many? Are we going to end up in a world where there's some companies that get really good at very specific versions of these? Does OpenAI and other various ones sort of build their own flavors? What kind of concentration ends up in this industry? So I don't know. I'm excited, but at the same time, we got a long way to go.
Yeah. No, I feel like so much of the innovation has already been done. A lot of the companies start off just like throwing a new GUI on top of the innovation and seeing how they can kind of use what's already been created.
Mitchell, that's a big one, man. The GUI world, that's one of the most, I'm going to use one of the most pathetic parts that I've seen about this is like the lack of innovation around how the results are displayed.
Yeah.
I don't know if Marty agrees or does disagree. Like, I don't like Jupyter notebooks. I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan. I think that sort of way to present data maybe is not the best way in the world to present data or to do analysis. And it seems that we've adopted that sort of same linear strategy thinking to how you interact with these GPT models, right? We're just kind of going down a page. It's like, give me something better. I don't know what the answer is. I don't like it.
Oh, that's great. Well, why don't we move on to the full topic of this week, which is obviously AI in the public sector. So last week, Biden released his extremely tiny, really small $7.3 trillion budget. yeah. $7.3 trillion budget for 2025, of which $3 billion of it is specifically for federal AI application development, procurement, and integration. And specifically, it was to fund the National AI Research Resource Pilot agencies, establish these like chief AI officers, and the AI talent surge, and like more AI development across agencies. So, what is your two initial thoughts on this? Obviously, for public sector, where obviously there's a level of like, who knows if this budget even matters based on who's going to be in the White House or if it even got approved or whatnot. But in general, there obviously seems to be a big push for AI in public sector. So what's your two initial thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I just want to let you know I have a hard stop in 5 minutes because the DoD called and they want to interview me for the chief data officer. Just kidding.
I like it.
But no, I've actually heard in some of the news and podcasts I listen to that there's like this massive push to find these people, these chief AI officers, and what kind of people are they looking for? You're looking for literally C-suite people in a pool of very immature people, because this science hasn't been around for a long time. So I'm gonna watch this very closely. I'm fascinated. What kind of people are they gonna find? Are they gonna find people who are super technologists but suck in front of a stage, or are they gonna find people who are really great in front of people but don't know what they're talking about? That sweet spot in the middle is going to be hard. I think that number, 3 billion, that's a huge number that they're going to spend on AI in the government. And we all know how efficient they're going to use that money. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it.
I mean, to the extent that there is some of those dollars are used for training, acquiring horizontal technologies, right? That things that can be built and not acquired in like giant. Look, there's a couple companies out there that sell suites of AI tools for for that see this and then they think, oh wait, I'm going to land a $1 billion contract now because I sell an AI tool that the government is into, um, and that scares the daylights out. That's what Marty's talking about as far as being like there's no that's just a push of dollars from our pockets into theirs, right? Um,
Glorified
the
snake oil salesman.
the snake oil salesman, and there are pieces of technology out there that promise a lot around AI and can't deliver. So that scares the daylights out of me. Now, Marty hit the nail on the head. But I think his first point is the thing that I struck me. If you're going to hire all these chief AI officers, where are you getting them? Like, okay, so now what you're saying is all the people that you have, we're gonna hire another set of people that are even more skilled with those people. And some of the AI folks that are already in the government are some of the best in the world, right? So some of the best in the world government AI people are already the people. This is not a new thing. This is a twist on the same thing. So all you possibly can be doing is either hiring away from Meta or SpaceX or Uber, right? Or you're elevating the existing people you already have, or paying them
you're elevating people into that position who don't belong there,
who don't know anything. Yeah,
exactly.
which is
That's my biggest fear. Is you're going to put people in charge that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, there's
we don't ever
Marty,
do that in the government, do we?
No, but we do it. We do it in corporations for a long time, and I've always hesitated from putting out on LinkedIn my rant, which I have written multiple times about the chief data or chief AI officer of various companies that frankly they don't know anything and they bounce in between Fortune 500 companies all the time. They're just enough to get long enough there just to kind of make it legitimate on their LinkedIn profile, and then they get fired. And they're making a career out of it. If we go hire these people into the government, it's going to happen. It's not good.
It's funny you mention that. I remember
with the government. The other thing I think we need to be look, the elephant in the room is what's your party affiliation and what's that going to do to your attitude about how you enact policy.
Could be the donkey in the room too.
What's that?
I said it could be the donkey in the room too, but
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, nice, good one there. Yeah,
Yep.
and I mean, if we have regime changes every 4 years, what kind of continuity are you going to see in these roles? Because you need some of that, and you need middle of the road, willing to take both sides, and you're not going to get that at those levels, especially if they're political appointees.
Look what's going on with TikTok right now. If we had anyone with any brains in there, they would be able to advise that the things that are happening on TikTok are also the exact same things that are happening on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all this other stuff. Like, it's the same crap. You just have a politically motivated affiliation. So if you're going to hire AI people and you listen to them, great. But if you're going to just if you're going to have a bunch of legislators up there going after a TikTok company because they're owned by some folks on the other side of the border, we're going to end up with garbage. I don't see the value of spending the money.
Back to my comment on efficiency and using money wisely. You're going to waste a lot of money on these people.
Yeah. Do you think there's a level of, even like, and this may be a pitch for both of you in these kind of roles, but like having a actual consulting company help steer that AI strategy, I feel like that's more important than having this figurehead of a chief AI officer. Because as you're mentioning, Ken, like with these chief data officer type roles in corporations on the commercial side, a lot of times I feel like the failure is sometimes not even on the individual. It's actually on the companies that don't really define what a successful chief data officer should be doing. Like, it's not really a very defined role of what success looks like.
Oh, of course. It's still an incentive problem, right? If
Yeah.
you can't blame the snake oil salesman for selling snake oil.
Yeah.
It's caveat emptor, right? Like, you better know what you're getting.
Yep.
Absolutely. Look, I think a lot of this comes down to basic education. If your C-suite or high level ranking officials don't understand the basics of predictive model, like, I can sit down and teach regression to anybody in a couple hours, like the basic concepts of regression. Everybody needs to know that, and that's the first step in all this stuff, right? We have to educate the leaders of the basics of predictive modeling, and you can do that. So do that first. Then hire, if you need to hire a AI superstar, go crazy, right?
Yep. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
done that with companies. We've done that with executives, over the past couple of years. And I mean, another meme for you would be that light bulb literally above their heads as they go, "Oh, that's what you mean by a data generating process. That's what you mean by a trend line. That's what you mean. We even what a neural net is. They use these words, but they have no clue what they're talking about. And a shady chief AI officer can come in and convince them of things that they absolutely don't need to do, or steer them in a absolutely wrong direction. And it could be politically motivated, it could be financially motivated, there could be all kinds of misrepresented motivations behind it. That's what I'm fearful of. And then I know one of the articles you linked had a word in it that I find very dangerous, and it said identifying harmful applications of AI. Who's gonna define this term harmful?
Yeah.
That's one of the scariest words in the English language, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because it's like if they don't have an actual source of truth that they're using to define that, like what does that even mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
No. Now the
Exactly.
other concern and kind of last question I wanted to hit on was I feel like we see this so much on the commercial side that a lot of companies are not even really set up from the back end standpoint to do AI effectively. They're usually plugging in a tool and using it for one use case or another, but they're not really set up appropriately. Where in most cases on the government side and public sector, a lot of
Yeah.
these agencies are even farther behind the commercial space. So I feel like there's a major lift that has to happen on the back end in order to really do this right.
Yeah, I mean, your data to do many of these AI type, these GPT type use cases that require big corpuses of data, you've got to have them up reasonably well organized in a cloud environment to even get started at a basic level.
Yep.
That's huge. That in the government world is Herculean.
Yeah. And you got to
Because
make sure your data is accurate, not biased, representative of what you want it to do. I mean, there's so many things, saying garbage in, garbage out
Yep.
is
I mean,
totally.
not to give away my leanings too much, but like, here's an excellent case where a local implementations of these things would be far more effective and less dangerous. I mean, I think about I look at the state of Florida and the way that the speed at which they can blast through things at the DMV, versus like a California, and then local localities inside of those places. So, maybe this is great. Just push the money down to local places and let them try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, Mitchell, you started by using our forefathers. I mean, our forefathers were all about federalism, and that's exactly what Ken's saying. And it's funny because we talk about local data or training a model and fine tuning it. Fine tuning a model is based on using local data. So it's
Mm.
like AI was built for the federalist system.
Yeah. That my wife would love that on the aspect of she does it for food obviously of like buy local, not
Yep.
but
Yep.
now we're going that way with data. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate you guys coming on and then chatting with me in DC. But and everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear and see your guys' comments on kind of where you see AI going in public sector, concerns, your visions of it. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week.